Hey everyone, welcome to another English grammar lesson. Today we're going to be covering commas with adjectives. Okay, so first of all, what even is an adjective? Well, adjectives are words that describe nouns. An adjective might be something like blue, the blue bird, or small, the small house, or funny, the funny comedian, or amazing, the amazing car. Adjectives are used to describe nouns, which are people, places, things, and ideas. So sometimes when we're describing something, we may actually want to use multiple adjectives, multiple describing words, to really flesh out that person, place, thing, or idea. So let's take a look at a sentence with multiple adjectives in a row. He was a kind, wise man. Now, you might be thinking, isn't this just commas in a list? Didn't we do this in another video? And the answer is no. With a list, the thing you're describing would usually be listed first, like the man was kind and wise. But in this type of sentence, the thing you're describing is always going to be listed after the adjectives. He was a kind, wise man. So in this situation, the adjectives come first, and the thing being described comes last. For example, if you were describing, say, a boat, it would be the something something boat. If you were describing a computer, it would be the something something computer. If you were describing a person, it would be the something something person. Whatever you're describing will come after the adjectives in these types of sentences. Okay, so how do commas work with all this though? Well, let's take a look at the sentence we just talked about. He was a kind, wise man. Okay, so what's being described here? What noun are these adjectives describing? The man, right? We're describing the man. So what describing words, what adjectives, are being used to describe the man here? Kind and wise, right? Okay, so here's the rule, pay attention. If we have multiple adjectives in a row, like we do here, we've got two, we will put commas between any two adjectives that can be flipped around and still make sense. So the question is, can kind and wise be flipped around? Can I instead say that he was a wise, kind man? Does that sound correct? And the answer is, yes it does. So all we need to do is put a comma between those two adjectives to show that they can be flipped around and still make sense. Let's try a couple practice ones. Mary is a clever, talented girl. Okay, so what word is being described here? And I'll give you a hint. It's not Mary. Remember what we said earlier. In these types of sentences, the word being described always comes after the adjectives. After the adjectives. So technically, the word being described here is girl. And what words, what adjectives, are being used to describe girl? Clever and talented, right? So the question is, can we switch those words around and still have the sentence make sense? Well, let's see what it sounds like. Mary is a talented, clever girl. Yeah, that sounds fine, actually. So we put a comma in there to show that we can switch these two adjectives around and the sentence still works fine. Next one. They live on an old dirt road. Okay, so what word is being described here? Give yourself a point if you said road. And what words, what adjectives are describing the road? Old and dirt, right? Now, can I flip them around? Does that still make sense? Does it make sense to say they live on a dirt old road? Not so much. So, if we can't flip the adjectives around, we do not use a comma. Two more. We saw a small blue bird. Okay, so the bird is the thing being described here, and small and blue are the adjectives being used to describe the bird. So, question is, can I flip them around? Well, if I do that, here's how the sentence would sound. We saw a blue small bird. No good. So again, because we cannot rearrange these adjectives, we do not need a comma. Last one, and let's beef it up a little bit here. Mrs. Smith is a mean, nasty, rotten woman. Okay, so just like the Mary one we did earlier, the word being described here is not the actual name. The word being described here is woman. You've got to look at the end, after the adjective. Speaking of which, I've got 3 adjectives this time, 3 describing words. Mean, nasty, and rotten. Doesn't matter though, the rule stays the same. We just have to try switching one pair at a time. So let's start here. Can I flip mean and nasty? Can I say Mrs. Smith is a nasty, mean, rotten woman? Yeah, so I throw a comma in there to show that those 2 can be rearranged. Now let's look at the second pair. Can I flip these around? Can I say Mrs. Smith is a mean, rotten, nasty woman? Sure can. So, comma there too. And if you want to check the last combination to see if you could say that Mrs. Smith is a rotten, nasty, mean woman, you could do that too. And again, the answer is yes. So, since I could put all 3 of these adjectives in any order I want, and the sentence would still make sense, I put a comma between every single one of them, showing that all 3 of them can be switched around. Cool. Well, whether you came here for a refresher or just now learning this stuff for the first time, I hope this video helped. Be sure to check out the free practice down in the description, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.